And you brought a friend?
Episode 6 of It. Welcome to Derry just dropped, and it's loaded. We got the reveal everyone suspected, but the episode also cracked open a dozen new mysteries. Who is Ingrid, really? Is Lily being groomed? Can Dick talk to the dead? And will that answer how Bob Gray actually died? We're unpacking the clues, peeling back the flashbacks, and I'll throw my hottest theories at you. Hit like, subscribe, and drop a balloon emoji in the comments if you want more deep dives like this. Let's go. This episode begins in one of those classic King places. Juniper Hill. Picture the ward. Faded wallpaper, dusty records, the kind of asylum that eats memories. We meet Ingrid Kersh, not as a ghost, not as a caricature, but as a stitched together lifetime. The show paints her scenes in black and white, which already tells you something. These moments are framed as old, as memory, as something someone else is telling you. But the photos she keeps, they don't add up. We see a proud anniversary snapshot marked May 16th, 1953. Then later, an album page that reads, "Our wedding day, 1928. Two different weddings, two different men, or one very strange timeline. And in a 1935 flashback, she's not wearing a ring. So either Ingrid had a previous husband, or someone is deliberately blurring history. That blurred figure in the photos could be nothing, or it could be the small seed of a larger lie. Small detail stuff matters in this show. The creators know that when fans notice small mismatches, it opens the door to massive theories. So let's look closer. Ingrid is billed as Pennywise's daughter. The show moves fast on that reveal, but it also leaves a lot of room for doubt. She's 35 in that flashback, but other clues make her age sticky, weird. There's a photo linked to 1900, and in the episode, we're told she was born then. That would make her impractically old, unless something supernatural is bolstering her life. Whoever's behind Ingrid might be giving her strength beyond any normal human lifespan. Then there's the periwinkle persona, the child clown, a stage name, a costume, a trigger. When young Ingrid danced in that outfit, someone watched. That someone could be Galoo. Galoo's cycle hits roughly every few decades. 1908, 1935, cyclical horrors. The 1908 event, the Kitchener Ironworks explosion, killed 88 kids. That was an augury, the indigenous term the show gives the event. These are not small things. These auguries mark the feast for whatever feeds on the town's children. So where does Ingrid fall in all this? She's close to the carnage. She's worked at Juniper Hill, around vulnerable kids. She keeps photos and wigs. She keeps a record player spinning the same song from other movies in the Kingverse. Is she a victim, a collaborator, or both? Which is the worst of both worlds. Lily finds an old snapshot in Ingrid's attic. A clown with cheap makeup and a taped-on wig. It's not the modern monstrous Pennywise. It's Bob Gray, the traveling carnival performer. That's an important distinction. Is this the real human Bob Gray the carnival used? Did Bob Gray ever truly die? Or did something else, Galoo, hijack that body for its feeding? In this world, identity is a shape the monster borrows. The cheap wig tells us this was a stage performer, not the cosmic horror we see prowling the streets. Think about the implications. If Bob Gray existed as a performer, there's human history tied to him. Neighbors who knew him, lovers maybe, unfinished trauma. If Galoo took Bob Gray's face and used it, then Ingrid's belief that she's talking to her father becomes a devastating self-inflicted weapon. She's been chasing a memory, and the monster has weaponized that chase. Remember the details. Periwinkle's wig has little jingle bells. The outfit from the photo matches what Lily sees outside Will's house. The monster remembers history the way a predator remembers the best hunting grounds. Ingrid uses the costume to force recognition. It's ugly and clever. She wears the costume to remind him, to make the monster recall a human thread. That's dedication, obsession, and a measure of complicity. The episode drops a bomb. When we rewind the timeline, we find Ingrid with Hank the night the theater burned. She was there. She kept Hank busy. The massacre happens. Later, Sheriff Bowers says an anonymous tip led the mob to Hank at the Black Spot. We also learn Ingrid met with Charlotte Hanlon to arrange Hank's hiding. That's a lot of moving pieces. So did Ingrid manipulate Hank deliberately, or was she manipulated? The show flashes scenes that make it feel like a setup. like chess. Ingrid knows Hank is in the black spot. She helps arrange it. Later, that bar is the site of a deadly augury. The theory the episode seems to set up, Ingrid chose survival and proximity. Working at Juniper Hill puts her next to lost children. It makes her useful to Galoo. It gives the monster access without tripping the loud alarms that would follow stranger activity. If you were a desperate person with a promise of a reunited loved one, would you make awful bargains? That's the question the show throws at us, and the answer is ugly. We also get a darker look at Sheriff Bowers. He tosses around blame, plays politics, and leaves a trail of corruption. He's fired, unable to serve and protect. Whether he's a puppet, a villain, or a victim of the system, the show makes sure he's in the thick of the moral rot. The black spot is the pulse of the episode's escalation. In King's novel, it's the main legion of white decency that burns the place. The book lays the groundwork for ugly, racially motivated violence. The show tightens it to the legion of white decency, but the intent is the same. A group of men who think they're upholding a twisted idea of decency. The thing I want you to notice is the masks the mob wears. They're facsimiles of the forms Pennywise has taken. A Frankenstein's monster, a vampire, a clown. That's cinematic cruelty. It's a display of how the human monsters mimic the supernatural one, and the show implies the monster stoked those flames. Galoo is subtle about it. It hijacks fear, pushes buttons, nudges people to violence until it looks like the townsfolk did the work themselves. We also meet additional players. Stan Kersh, who may or may not know his wife's betrayal. The councilman from episode 2, just a racist motive-driven presence. And the Boone brothers mentioned as Easter eggs. These nods matter mostly as atmosphere, but the core is this. A town on edge is the monster's perfect hunting ground. Now, the show throws a curveball with Dick. The man who used the lockbox method, shut down trauma, don't look, don't feel, has that lock opened. That technique, lifted from Dr. Sleep lore, was taught by his grandma. It keeps him safe. It keeps the dead quiet. But here, after an attack in the sewers, the box pops open. Dick sees dead people again. At 9, he learned how to avoid them. Now their voices are back and they're loud. There's a terrifying detail. Dick says the dead wander back to where they died, and they know things the living don't. That is huge. If he can find where Bob Gray's body lies, the real human Bob, he could tell us whether Ingrid's dad was ever human, how he actually died, and if he was a creator or a victim. For Lily, that could be closure. For the plot, that could be ruin. Imagine Dick finding proof that the man Ingrid worshipped was not who she thought. That would fracture her resolve. And it would also expose Galoo's manipulation. But there's another beat. Duty. Leroy shows up with orders from General Shaw. Dick is tangled with the military now. All that moral conflict, what it means to follow orders versus follow conscience, is being mapped onto his ability to speak to the dead. The show hints at a darker reason Dick works with the military. The podcast actor even teased there's something in his past. That implies coercion or blackmail. Plus, it raises the stakes of any decision Dick might make. Lily keeps the dagger she found wrapped in cloth behind Rose's wall. A classic old thing wrapped in mystery move. The blade glowed last episode. It stopped Pennywise once. She believes it could finish him. That's the hero's talisman in cosmic horror form. There's a bittersweet Bilbo-like humor to how she clings to it. "I'll hold it," she says like a reluctant hero. We see Lily tempted. Run back into the sewers? It's a yes from her. That dagger becomes the promise of agency. But the show also sets up the moral cost. The dagger glows when used. What if it's not purely a weapon? What if it requires sacrifice? Or what if its glow attracts Galoo in a way we don't yet understand? The imagery of the dagger and the pickle factory, Melvin's Pickles, is grotesquely symbolic. The knife is the memory of her father's workplace, and the key to possibly undoing the monster. Then there's the stabbing. Lily stabs Ingrid with the dagger. That's a moment where the dagger and the monster's politics collide. Is physical harm the answer to a metaphysical problem? The show leaves the effect ambiguous, and we should read that ambiguity as intentional. The writers want us asking, does a normal weapon do anything against a thing that feeds off a town's grief? Time for the big brain moves. I've got a few theories, ranked from likely to explosive. Theory 1. Ingrid as a tragic collaborator. She lost her father to this cycle. The monster promised reunion and used her grief. She's not purely evil, she's broken and bargaining. Her role at Juniper Hill makes her a tragic key. She supplies access and rationalizes what she's doing as a path to reunion. Theory 2. Bob Gray was a real human whose death is the key. Dick's ability to talk to the dead will locate Bob Gray's corpse. If they find a human body, we get forensic answers. How did he die? Was he killed by humans? Did he fall into Galoo's trap? This could collapse Ingrid's myth quickly. Theory 3. The pillars and the weapon. The military is digging up ancient tech and planning to melt core pieces into a weapon. That's very bad. Weapons made from cosmic artifacts rarely end well. The indigenous turtle shell hint suggests a sealed history. One where they previously contained pillars. Unsealing it might mean the town digs up the very thing that sustains Galoo. Maybe they think they can control it. They can't. Theory 4. The mist fog is an augury trigger. The recurring mist, ice cream trucks, kids floating. These are signs of a larger citywide event. Maybe the finale isn't just a burning bar. Maybe it's a whole town ascension or a mass feeding. The show's staged love moments will be the emotional cliff that makes that feeding sting. Theory 5. The dagger's real purpose. It could be more than just a weapon. Maybe it's a key. It glows, it repels, it protects, or it requires something. Blood, belief, sacrifice. If it's a key, then the military and the carnival could both want it. Episode 6 pushes the series from mystery into moral earthquake. We're seeing how grief and power get transmuted into tools the monster uses. The writers are building a terrible machine. Human hate plus military hubris plus supernatural malice equals catastrophe. If you like this breakdown, smash that like and subscribe. Drop your biggest theory below. Was Ingrid a mastermind or a pawn? Did Bob Gray ever exist as a man? Do you think the dagger kills, or does it unlock something else? I'll pin the best comment and maybe do a follow-up if the finale gives us answers. I want to hear your takes. Until next time, keep your lights on, watch the children, and remember, sometimes the monsters use the people you love as their map.